Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You were not born to sit in the backseat of your own life. You were not crafted by the Creator to beg for directions from people who don't even know where they're going. You were not designed to wait on applause, to wait on the green light, to wait on the perfect timing that never shows up with a ribbon and a trumpet. You were born to drive, to take the wheel with your own two hands. Grip it so tight that fear starts trembling and push forward like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for you to show up. See, too many of us were taught to be polite with our dreams. We were told to wait your turn, to be realistic, to don't dream too big. And somewhere along the line, we started believing that the right time would introduce itself like a gentleman. We thought the right people would come along and see us, validate us, make room for us. But listen to me, greatness doesn't come served on a silver platter. It comes in the form of sweat, scars, setbacks, and the decision to keep driving even when the GPS fails. You've got a vehicle called purpose, but you're stuck in park because somebody laughed at your dream, because someone didn't believe in you, because you didn't get the invitation you were hoping for. Let me wake you up. You don't need an invitation when you already have intention. You don't need permission when God already gave you a vision. The world doesn't stop for the quiet dreamer. It bows for the one bold enough to say, I'm coming for what's mine. You keep waiting for support, for approval, for the go-ahead. But what if the only permission slip you'll ever get is the one you write with your own courage? Let me tell you about life. It will test you with silence before it rewards you with applause. It will break you in places you didn't know could crack. And every time you try to rise, something will whisper, sit down. You're not ready. But that's when you stand taller. That's when you grip the wheel tighter. That's when you hit the gas like your legacy is on the line. Because it is. You think time is going to pause for you? You think your dream's just going to wait outside until you feel ready? No. Life doesn't work on feelings. It works on faith. It responds to movement. It responds to boldness. It responds to the ones who take the wheel even with trembling hands and say, I'm driving anyway. You're not here to be a passenger. You're not here to ride in someone else's story. You're not here to clap from the crowd while your destiny dies in the corner. You are here to build, to lead, to take command of the vehicle that is your calling. And I don't care if you've crashed before. I don't care if you've been detoured, delayed, dismissed, or disrespected. Let me tell you what I care about. Whether or not you still believe that your destination is still valid, because if you believe it, then buckle up, because the future doesn't wait. The dream doesn't wait. And let's be real, your pain isn't going to wait either. So either you drive or you get driven by regret. Too many of us are living under the illusion that we need someone to say yes before we move. But I've got news for you. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to build your empire for you. Nobody is going to wake up and fight your battle while you snooze your alarm clock. This is your life. This is your race. This is your wheel. You have been given everything you need to begin, even if you don't feel ready, even if the map is blurry, even if the path is filled with potholes, traffic, and roadblocks. Drive. Drive like your future is waiting at the end of this highway. Drive like your kids will inherit the miles you cover. Drive like the people you were born to impact are counting on you to not give up. Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them sleep on you, but don't let them distract you. You were not built to coast. You were not built to stall. You were built to break limits, break cycles, and break the silence. Every time you move, you remind the enemy, I don't need a perfect road. I just need to keep moving. So if your family never supported you, take the wheel anyway. If your boss overlooked you, take the wheel anyway. If the love of your life walked out, take the wheel anyway. If your bank account is screaming no, take the wheel anyway. You are not waiting for miracles. You are the miracle. You're not waiting for the world to change. You're the one who was sent to change it. The future belongs to those who move, to those who speak even when their voice shakes, to those who show up even when they're scared, to those who take the wheel even when the storm is loud. Because hear me, Every great story begins with a decision to leave the crowd, a decision to bet on yourself, a decision to stop asking permission and start acting on vision. So today, I want you to remember this. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. You've just been parked too long in fear. But the engine still works. The dream still breathes. The fire still burns. Turn the key. Take the wheel. And don't just drive. Dominate. Own the road. Ignore the noise. Crank up your belief. And never look in the rearview mirror unless it's to see how far you've come. This is your season. This is your shift. This is your moment. The world doesn't owe you a thing, but you owe yourself everything. No one's going to crown you, so take the wheel and claim the crown. It was never about who doubted you. It was always about whether you would choose to believe anyway. Because at the end of the day, the future doesn't wait. So stop waiting. Start driving. Never ever give that wheel away again. Now let me tell you what happens when you finally decide to take the wheel. The world doesn't just step aside and test you. It sends storms, flat tires, and wrong turns. Not to stop you, but to ask, how bad do you want it? See, talk is cheap. Everyone wants the destination, but only a few are willing to drive through the wilderness to get there. The difference between the dreamers and the doers. One group waits for a perfect road. The other builds it with blood, grit, and blind faith. And here's the real truth. There is no one-size-fits-all map. You might start your journey surrounded by people, but the further you drive into your purpose, the fewer passengers you'll have. That's not loneliness, that's clarity. When the vision becomes sharper, the noise becomes quieter. You don't need everyone's advice. You need your own voice, clear, fierce, and unapologetically focused. People will ask, who do you think you are? Your answer, the one behind the wheel. You're not on this road to impress. You're not here to seek validation. You're here to fulfill a calling, to live so boldly that even the detours can't keep up with you. There will be days when you question everything, when nothing makes sense, when you're running on fumes. But listen to me, those are not signs to stop. They are invitations to dig deeper, because greatness isn't made on smooth roads. It's forged in the fire of persistence, in the silence of doubt, in the exhaustion that whispers, quit, and the conviction that roars, not today. When you take the wheel, you don't just change your direction, you rewrite your story. You break generational curses by refusing to stay stuck in cycles. You destroy every label placed on you by choosing progress over pity. You stop playing small just to keep others comfortable. There's nothing humble about hiding your power. There's nothing noble about shrinking to fit rooms you've outgrown. And you don't owe explanations to people still circling the same block of excuses. This road, it's yours. This journey, sacred. This pace, chosen by your inner fire, not public opinion. You are not chasing trends. You're chasing legacy. You're not mimicking success. You're defining it. You're not waiting for a handout. You are the force that builds something from nothing. You want freedom. It's not given. It's taken, mile by mile, day by day. Through every wrong turn you refuse to let define you. Understand this. Fear has a loud voice, but it doesn't have a license. It only moves if you give it the wheel. And most people don't crash because they drive too fast. They crash because they let fear navigate. You can't win the race if you're too scared to leave the parking lot. You can't become a trailblazer if you keep waiting for someone else to go first. You have to believe in your own ability to navigate storms before the weather even shifts. That's what faith looks like. And when you finally start moving, really moving, you'll feel it. Not in the applause, not in the finish line, but in the way your soul rises every time you refuse to turn back. That's power, not perfection, not popularity, power. That's sacred knowing deep in your bones that you were born for more and that you don't need confirmation to claim it. Don't just take the wheel, own the entire road. Build your business without the capital. Raise your kids with values they won't find on the screen. Create your art, launch your brand, write your story without asking a single soul if it's good enough. Because the truth, the ones who change the world are the ones who stop waiting for it to notice them. And you, yes, you have been driving around with a dream in the trunk, waiting for the right moment to unpack it. Unpack it now. This is the moment. No more test drives. No more watching from the sidelines. No more doubting the divine fire in your chest. From this second forward, everything changes, not because the road got easier, but because you got bolder. From now on, you're not looking at the future like it's a distant land. You're treating it like a destination you refuse to miss. You're not turning back. You're not slowing down to be liked. You're not asking for permission to shine. And when people ask what happened to you, tell them I stopped waiting. I started driving, because the truth is you never needed more time. You needed more fire. You never needed more approval. You needed more faith. You never needed more luck. You needed to make a damn decision. And now you have. So take the wheel. Not with fear, not with hesitation, but with that holy fire that says, this is mine. Your future doesn't need permission. It needs you. Fully alive, fully awake, fully committed. No more delays, no more shrinking, no more silence. You're not here to watch the parade. You're the one leading it, and the road ahead is waiting for the sound of your engine, not your excuses. So drive. Drive like you've already made it. Drive like destiny owes you no apologies. Drive like you were born for this because you were. And here's the wild part. The longer you wait, the heavier the wheel becomes. Not because your hands got weaker, but because doubt gains weight when left unchecked. Every hour you spend second-guessing yourself adds bricks to your back. Every day you don't start becomes a day you owe your future. And still, you think hesitation is safer than motion. Let me break it to you clean. Hesitation is the most dangerous passenger you'll ever carry. It whispers like it cares about you. It tells you to be cautious, to wait for a sign, to collect more opinions. But what it's really doing, it's slowly draining the life out of your purpose, because there's no fire in maybe. There's no breakthrough in almost. There's no legacy in neutral. Your breakthrough isn't coming when you're ready. It's coming when you're honest. Honest enough to say, I've played small. I've waited too long. I've been giving away the key to people who were never meant to drive me. This is your wake-up call. It's time to stop outsourcing your destiny to distractions, to dead weight, to people who clap louder for your setbacks than your wins. Because here's what they don't tell you. Not everyone wants to see you behind that wheel, because when you start moving, you remind them of what they're not doing. So don't expect a celebration when you finally shift into gear. Expect silence, expect resistance, expect yourself, because it will be you against the voice that says you're not enough. You against the history that tried to bury you. You against every fear that said you can't handle this. And yet you're still here, breathing, standing, capable, chosen. Not chosen to sit, not chosen to watch, but chosen to conquer. You don't need everything figured out. You need motion. You need intent. You need to decide once and for all that you'd rather fail in pursuit than succeed in regret. And here's the twist. Failure isn't the villain, it's the teacher. Every wrong turn sharpens your instincts. Every breakdown forces reinvention. Every mile you barely survive, that's a chapter in a story someone else will read one day and whisper, if they did it, maybe I can too. So don't let the potholes fool you. Don't let the dead ends discourage you. They aren't proof that you're lost. They're proof that you're on the road. The people who never hit obstacles, they're not driving. They're parked, decorating the inside of a car going nowhere. But not you. You're not waiting for green lights from people who are colorblind to your purpose. You're not measuring your progress by someone else's speed. You're not here to be liked. You're here to live. So understand this, the dream doesn't die because it's impossible. It dies because we hand over the keys to fear, to pride, to opinions. You get one chance, one road, one story. And when it's all said and done, you're not going to be asked if people approved of your route. You're going to be asked if you used it, if you drove it with boldness, with sweat, with vision, if you stopped for the broken but never got stuck with them, if you kept your eyes forward even when the storms hit sideways. because purpose doesn't come with perfect conditions. It comes with a pull, a restlessness that keeps you awake at night, a voice that keeps calling you forward even when everything around you says sit down. And that pull, that's your reminder. That's the wheel nudging you. That's your calling reminding you this is not your final stop. So don't waste another mile trying to be who they want you to be. Don't flatten your dream to fit the mold. Don't dilute your fire so others can feel warm without earning the heat. This journey is about you stepping into the version of yourself that terrifies your insecurities. It's about showing up to your own life like it's a stage and owning it like no one else could. Because they can copy your style, they can mimic your tone, but they'll never match your fire if it was lit by destiny. So take the wheel not just with confidence, but with conviction. Take it like you've already paid the price in silence. Take it like the detours prepared you for this exact moment. Take it like you finally believe that you weren't made for less. Let every turn be a declaration. Let every decision be a vote of faith. Let every mile be a funeral for your fear. This is not a motivational slogan. This is your life, unapologetic, unfiltered, unstoppable. They don't have to get it. They don't have to like it. They don't have to see the vision because it wasn't sent to them. It was sent to you. So honor it. Not later, not tomorrow. Now, there is something powerful that happens when you stop stalling and start steering. When you look ahead, not for confirmation, not for permission, but for the open space no one else dared to chase. That moment, that's where greatness begins. Not in applause, not in headline, not in going viral, but in silence, in sweat, in solitude, in that exact place where no one is watching, but you still choose to give everything because that's who you are now, a person of movement, a person of purpose, a driver of destiny. You don't take detours because you're lost. You take detours because the direct route was never built for someone with your kind of fire. Some people follow maps. You build roads. Some people wait for signs. You make your own weather. That's what visionaries do. They don't just survive the traffic. They disrupt the flow. They make room where there was none. They turn obstacles into launch pads. And they do it with scars, with bruises, with windburned faces, and hands that shake. Because driving with purpose doesn't always look pretty, but it's real, it's raw, it's yours. You're not here for perfection. You're here for momentum. You're here to cause waves, not wait for calm. And if you're honest, you've always felt it, that ache inside you that refuses to settle, that quiet rebellion that rises every time you try to water yourself down. It's not ego, it's awareness. It's the divine reminder that you weren't created to blend in. You were born to build, to burn, to become, not a version of someone else, not a recycled identity, but the original, untamed, trailblazing expression of purpose that this world was missing before you arrived. So stop apologizing for wanting more. You're not greedy. You're ready to leave the excuses behind, ready to stop delaying your name on something permanent, ready to stop handing your legacy to distractions, drama, and doubt. Because here's what happens when you step into who you really are. Doors don't just open, you become the door. Opportunities don't just show up, you create them. You don't chase approval anymore. You carry certainty. You don't compete for crumbs. You pull up a seat and break the table if you have to. You speak the language of vision, and you don't shrink your vocabulary just because someone else doesn't understand it. Let them doubt you. Let them roll their eyes. Let them say you've changed, because you have. And you should evolving. You're choosing growth over gossip. You're choosing depth over distraction. You are no longer trying to fit in where you were never meant to stay. And yes, it will feel lonely sometimes. But loneliness is not the enemy. Settling is comfort zones are nothing but padded caging. And you weren't made to be caged. You were made to break through ceilings, to stretch the limits, to redefine what's possible. Every mile you drive forward is a statement. I'm not asking, I'm arriving. Every day you show up anyway is a message. You don't need to see the whole road when you've already committed to the journey. You don't have to feel fearless to act brave. Courage is what you do with the fear, not without it. And don't confuse being tired with being finished. Your fatigue is not a stop sign. It's a sign you're giving effort. It means you're pouring your life into something meaningful. It means you're not just dreaming, you're doing. So refuel, but don't retreat. Rest, but don't reverse. You've come too far to quit now. You've seen too much to play small. You've tasted progress, and now mediocrity will never satisfy you again. That's the thing about the wheel. Once you grab it, you can never unfeel the power. You start to notice how many people live on autopilot. You start to realize how much noise is just people avoiding their own greatness. You start to see how rare it is to meet someone who's not just surviving but driving, and you become one of them, one of the few, one of the focused, one of the fierce. No rear view regrets. No parking in pity, no U-turns to go explain yourself to the ones who never showed up. There's no space for guilt on the highway of destiny. You are done asking what if. Now you move in. What's next? You're not here to revisit pain. You're here to rebuild from it. You're not here to mourn who left. You're here to rise for who's watching. The child who needs your courage. The friend who needs your example. The stranger who will one day say, because you didn't give up, neither did I. That's what this is about. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present, showing up to your life so fully that even the shadows start backing off. So if today still holds breath in your lungs, if you woke up with a heartbeat and a burden, if you've still got a calling tugging at your chest, then there's only one thing left to do. Drive. Drive like the future is closer than it looks. Drive like fear has been evicted from your vocabulary. Drive like destiny is watching, because it is, and it's waiting to hand you everything you've ever prayed for. But only if you stop praying for permission. Only if you stop waiting for signs. Only if you stop playing by rules written by people who never dared to leave their driveways. This is it. Your turn, your time, your terrain. Own it, command it, take it. Take the wheel and never give it back. When you start moving like your life depends on it, something incredible happens. The world starts to shift, not because it suddenly becomes easier, not because the road clears up or the obstacles disappear, but because you are no longer the same. You're not the same person who once begged for direction. You're not the same version of yourself who whispered your goals behind closed doors. You're no longer sitting in the shadow of your own potential. You've become the storm they warned themselves about, the one who refused to be defined by where you started. The one who decided that the past may have shaped you, but it sure as hell won't contain you, because now you're not waiting for momentum, you're creating it. Every step you take becomes a blueprint for someone else. Every mile you push forward becomes a light for someone still stuck in the dark. And every boundary you break becomes a permission slip for the next soul who just needed proof it could be done. You are no longer asking, is this possible? You're proving that it is. And no, not everyone will clap. Not everyone will celebrate your rise. Some will fall off. Some will talk. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them mislabel your focus. Let them twist your growth into ego. That's not your burden. That's the cost. Every version of elevation comes with a tax, and often it's the comfort of familiar faces who only knew how to love your limitation, not your expansion. But you're done watering down to keep from overflowing. You've outgrown explanations. You've outgrown approval. You've outgrown fear disguised as caution. From here on out, you're walking with clarity. You're speaking with conviction. You're moving like you already know where you're going, even if you don't have all the answers yet, because that's the truth. You don't need the full plan to take the next step. You don't need to see the end to begin with fire. You just need to believe that forward is better than stuck. And don't confuse slow with failing. Progress is still progress, even when it's quiet, even when it's messy, even when it doesn't come with praise. Some of your greatest wins will come in seasons where no one sees you, where no one is cheering, where your only audience is God, grit, and gravity pulling you down. But you rise anyway, and that's when you know you've changed. That's when you know the shift is real. when you can move without attention, build without applause, shine without a spotlight. That's when your confidence isn't just noise, it's evidence. Evidence that you've been through the storm and refused to drown. Evidence that you've walked through fire and came out branded by purpose, not burned by fear. Evidence that you've bled for your dream and still said more, because you're not addicted to comfort anymore. You're addicted to calling. And that's the most dangerous kind of person. Someone who isn't chasing rewards, but chasing alignment. Someone who doesn't flinch at silence because they found their voice inside it. Someone who realizes the road may be long, but it's theirs. And ownership, that changes everything. When you stop blaming, when you stop waiting, when you stop pointing at your circumstances like they wrote your ending, that's when you take your power back. When you realize that every no they gave you was just fuel, every door that shut in your face was just redirection, every betrayal was just a lesson carved in pain, spelling out keep driving. So you keep going when it's lonely, you keep going when the money runs low, you keep going when the vision is so loud in your head it drowns out the doubt. Because this isn't just about success anymore. It's about becoming someone you respect when no one's watching. It's about building a life so aligned that even if it doesn't impress the world, it fulfills your soul. That kind of life is not handed out. It's carved from decisions, sacrifices, sleepless nights, and unshakable belief. And that belief, that relentless internal knowing, is what separates the forgotten from the unforgettable. You want to be remembered? Then build something that remembers you back. Not the claps, not the trophies, but the lives you touch, the freedom you claim, the example you leave behind like footprints in concrete, so the next generation doesn't have to start from scratch. And here's what no one tells you. You can inspire without saying a word. Your actions, your audacity, your refusal to quit, those are sermons the right people are waiting to hear. So preach with your feet, testify with your journey, declare war on average every time you rise when quitting would have been easier. You've already outlived moments that were designed to bury you. You've already won battles no one even knew you were fighting. You've already become the proof that struggle doesn't disqualify, it initiates. You are initiated now through pain, through purpose, through perseverance. So what's left? Only everything. Every wild idea you haven't acted on yet. Every dream still scribbled in the corners of your heart. Every move you've rehearsed in silence but haven't released to the world. Don't let them die inside you. You weren't given vision to hoard it. You weren't given time to waste it. You weren't given breath to hide it. Let it out. Let it roar. Let it shake the very foundation of every room you enter from now on. Because you don't walk in wondering if you belong. You walk in knowing the room just got better because you showed up. You are no longer arriving for acceptance. You are arriving with authority because finally you took the wheel. And when you take the wheel, you don't just change direction, you change everything.